proposed a new information management system that would run across the internet on a lot of different kinds of operating systems. And with that algorithm, he created the World Wide Web 25 years ago this year, in March. And he then implemented the first successful communication between a hypertext transfer protocol, that HTTP, client and server, for the first time over the internet, sometime around mid-November 1989. In 2004, Tim Berners-Lee was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his pioneering work, and then in 2012, during the opening ceremonies of the Summer Olympics that year, he was honored as the inventor of the World Wide Web. He was there in person for that, and he was working with a vintage Next. How did you call that? NEXT, or did you call it Next? Next. So he had a vintage Next computer there with him, and made a link with the London. So he used that Next computer to tweet in response to honoring of the creation of the World Wide Web. He tweeted, "This is for everyone." And that message was instantly spelled out in LCD lights attached to the chairs in the 80,000 person stadium there at the Olympics. So we don't have LCD lights here today in your chairs, but nevertheless, to advance part of our work together on the vision for broadband in our state, we're going to pause now to honor some of our own internet pioneers here in Minnesota, right here in Minnesota. The creators of MRNet, Minnesota Regional Network. And like Tim Berners-Lee, MRNet efforts were for everybody. MRNet was first formed in 1987 as an association of members that were interested in getting the internet to Minnesota. And at that time, that consisted of a 56K connection to NSFnet at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. In 1991, which is our 25th anniversary that we're celebrating today, MRNet was incorporated as a nonprofit. So we're here to honor their leadership and vision and acknowledge their anniversary. MRNet's mission, when they were founded and began in 1987-89, was to, quote, enhance Minnesota's academic, research, and economic environment through the use of computer and information networks. That's what they set out to do. MRNet built the telecommunications infrastructure that supported most of Minnesota's early internet services. Early on, it was based in the Supercomputer Center as a University of Minnesota project. There were 6 founding member organizations. They each paid annual dues of $1,000 a year to fund the work. It was staffed by volunteers. After receiving a $20,000 grant from the National Science Foundation in 1987, the company began providing internet access to a number of schools in Minnesota. And then in 1991, more funding continued to grow at a pace until 1994-95, when the idea of the internet really started to catch on. And then they worked really hard to keep up with the pace of deploying and managing the internet in Minnesota, as well as educating the public about what the internet was. MRNet's customers included nearly every Minnesota educational institution, the state government, 11 of the state's 15 Fortune 500 companies, and many other local internet providers. For a more detailed look at MR history in the context of the history of the internet overall, check out that triptych there at the back of the room that we put together, with a lot of thanks to Ann Tracy for her hard work on digging up and documenting the history of MRNet. And Ann and my intent is to make a Wikipedia entry on MRNet because we don't think we have one yet, and the story we want to share. Minnesotans, as we know, have a long history of working together to make it better for everyone. So our intent today is to be reminded of that as we acknowledge the 25th anniversary of the World Wide Web and the incorporation of MRNet. We want to recognize the Minnesotans who came together in creative collaboration to get our state linked up. And we want to take inspiration from them for the work that's still ahead. And so, in honor of the Minnesotans who demonstrated the vision, tenacity, and public spiritedness to found MRNet, we're honored today to present to MRNet pioneers the Advancing the Vision Award. And there you see it there, the text recognizing the Minnesotans who 25 years ago had a vision of creating a network of networks to enhance research and education and to increase the productivity and competitiveness of businesses throughout our state. Here today to recognize, to accept the award on behalf of the MRNet pioneers is Dave Birkin. And before we invite Dave up, we have a letter that Jane's going to come up and share with us from Dennis Fazio. I mentioned Dennis was the first paid employee of MRNet. Jane accepted this honor because she and Ann and maybe others in the room were among the minions at the table, at the whiteboard at those days. So Jane's going to come on up and share some words from Dennis Fazio that he prepared for the conference. Dennis is in Yellowstone. Thank you, Jane.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can read these in 9-point type with my progressive lenses after 25 years. Dennis is indeed in Yellowstone, but he wrote this today, and I'm going to read you the whole thing, and just think of Dennis Fazio up here, not me. I actually came on the scene with MRNet in the mid-1990s when Access Minnesota was starting. So you guys remember that? 156 kilobit line to every county seat. Minnesota Extension and the Department of Admin and MRNet and everybody working together. So here's Dennis's words. I sincerely regret that I am not able to be with you at this special event to celebrate the history of the internet in Minnesota and the role that the Minnesota Regional Network played in that. Somehow, I thought it would be more fun to explore the great Yellowstone caldera while slowly getting soaked by 3 inches of early fall snow and sleet and inhaling hydrocarbon particulates from 5 scattered road-closing forest fires. Salute me. I can just see Dennis's engineer speak. A lot of detail. I look back on that early time as one of great promise and exciting advancement, both for me personally, for the state as a whole, for all the individuals who contributed to MRNet's success and influence, and all those in business, education, and government who benefited from the facilities and evangelism that MRNet built and set forth. MRNet's success was a joint effort, not just of the staff, but of all our partners in education, business, and government who cleared the tracks and provided the environment and generous assistance whereby we could make advances beyond what could be expected of such a small organization. In many other states, the internet advanced quickly because there were visionaries in state government and leading universities who saw the future and provided resources to realize that vision. That was not the case in Minnesota, unfortunately, and it was left to the visionaries and engineers of change scattered in universities, state and private colleges, K-12 service organizations, forward-looking technical groups in Minnesota's key technology businesses, and also the small cadre of entrepreneurs who saw an opportunity for a financial future doing something they all thought was the coolest thing around. And we did think it was pretty cool. This disparate set of individuals, some in suits, some in t-shirts, men and women, young and old, from all over, came together and worked cooperatively to provide an order of magnitude boost to Minnesota's educational advancement, governmental services, and economic and social growth, while also trying to build their place in the new information society, or make a neat living for themselves. I see that this is still how our digital cosmos is developing here, not from the top down, but from the energetic and cooperative effort of enthusiasts from all corners of the commercial, educational, and academic spheres of the state, and also from all corners of the geographic presence of the state. I congratulate those carrying on the task of making ubiquitous information and knowledge sharing available to benefit all, and say good fortune to you who are building on the foundation laid by Minnesota's internet pioneers. I would like to express my great thanks to Dave Bergam. Dave, come on up while I'm saying this. Former engineer, technology designer, and customer service hero, as much responsible for MRNet's place in the world as I, for representing MRNet so capably at this forum. To Ann Tracy for her excellent and, as always, great effort in the whirlwind production of the timeline, and to Bernadine Joslin, who I suspect is one of the key conspirators in this whole thing, and who continues to spearhead these needed efforts to secure Minnesota's digital future. Thank you all most sincerely for this recognition, and keep pressing on. Dave and Bernadine.
Thank you, Jane. And it is too bad that Dennis isn't able to be here today, but we're delighted, Dave, that you would be here and willing to come on up in front and accept the award on behalf of your colleagues. So Dave came, I'm going to say just a couple more words about you, Dave. He came to MRNet in 1992? 1993. So now how are you going to believe anything else I say after that? I got the detail right. And he keeps reminding me, these engineers, they really pay attention to detail. So 1993, from Honeywell, where he worked for a long time, 25 years I had written down, okay? He was MRNet's second paid employee. And he was hired to help manage the internet's exponential growth, which is wild at the time. And at MRNet, Ann told me this detail. It was his job to keep the whiteboard up to date of all the upcoming installs in his office. And that whiteboard was the central database of the project until there was staff in place to develop a real database to meet the needs. Dave stayed with MRNet until 2000 when he moved on to Cisco, and then became an independent contractor software test engineer at Stony River Protocols. And he's also a longtime volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. These days, Dave combines his interest in biking and Habitat by doing the 500-mile bike race. And this year you did that in the rain, is that right?
Well, there were 2 days of rain.
Okay. So Dave
and it's a ride, not a race.
A race, a ride. Okay. Dave and his wife live in Isabella. So next week, the old MRNet crew is going to be having their own celebration of the 25th anniversary in Roseville at the Grumpy Bar and Grill. And it'll be a fun event, and I hope you'll be able to enjoy the triptychs that we put together, the history of that. So again, thanks for being here today to share this award. And we put together this Blue Flame Award, and it's inscribed as you see it up there. So again, congratulations, Dave, and to all of you and your colleagues for your vision. May we be worthy of your aspirations for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to represent MRNet, our employees and our customers, and receive this recognition of our place in internet history. Most of my career I've been a bit plumber and a software developer in the trenches, in the back rooms, and not involved in public policy at all. So it's very enlightening for me to come here and see all the activity that is going on to bring the internet to the backwaters and to the underserved. Initially, we used to speak of the internet as the information superhighway, thinking that the analogy to the interstate highway system would serve us in bringing the internet to all. And well, it turned out to be more of a commercial enterprise, but now I see it's becoming more of a hybridized system where there's private and public investment to bring the internet border to border. It's very enlightening to me to attend this conference and see the admirable job that you're all doing to bring the internet to the underserved. So again, thank you for this award, and I'll be looking forward to bringing it to my colleagues next week.